golf correspondent, reporter Rupert Bell is with us now to just bring us some sad news from the world of golf. Rupert.
Yeah, sadly, my talkSPORT colleague Bob Bubka died yesterday. I'd worked with him for 25 years. He was part of we both started more or less at the same time bringing golf coverage to talkSPORT. I know he'd been ill for some time, and I've been talking to Janice, his partner and producer, who was also an integral part of the team when they came over, that he'd been ill and was struggling. But I know that he was still listening to our coverage and right to the very end, because he just loved golf. But more importantly, he just loved being part of the talkSPORT family, bringing golf coverage in his own unique way, because that voice was as hypnotic a voice that anyone could have. He just opened his mouth. He could say basically anything he wanted with that voice. And that one thing, he may have been physically frail towards the end, but right to the end, that voice never faltered. And he was even bringing, we were still working till early this year on the Masters and contributing. So I know he'd been, as I say, ill for some time. The last one he covered in situ for us was at St Andrews in 2022, speeding around in his mobility scooter around the streets of St Andrews. Is an image I will never forget. I mean, the highway code was something I don't think he quite understood when it came to a mobility scooter. But with the thing that he loved so much was when he would go round and suddenly interaction with fans, and suddenly you'd be talking to it and everyone would almost stop and say, "You're Bob. You're Bob. Can I have a photo?" Because that voice and his knowledge of the game, because he didn't actually start out as a golf man. Yes, played golf, but he was a car salesman to begin with. I bet he sold a lot of cars, because that voice, you'd say yes. But he did a few bits with some friends on American local radio, and he really started to cover the game back in 1986. That was Jack Nicklaus's Masters, and actually Jack and Bob were very good friends, and also then he got more and more involved. But he also then, of course, was the voice of golf for talkSPORT in the Tiger era. And he was such a passionate advocate for Tiger and would just relish in Tiger's achievements. And Tiger would always find time to come and say hello to Bob as well. He would walk over to him and have a photograph with him and just spend time with Bob. Whereas, obviously Tiger's time was precious, but somehow Bob and Tiger, he would make time to say hello to Bob, particularly when he would see him in his, struggling to get around. Tiger would make an effort to come over and see him. And I know that we were a bit of an odd couple, it has to be said, but I just enjoyed sitting next to him. I mean, his eating habits were extraordinary, his food combinations and what he would do. I'd leave me thinking, what the heck's going on here, as he put some other combination of food in his mouth. But
peanut butter and jam sandwich, and
Well, and basically what he did do, particularly before he worked hard, but he also could play very hard. He tried probably go toe-to-toe with Alan Brazil. And even Alan might have found it a struggle to keep up with him back in the day. But I just enjoyed being in his presence and part of our golf coverage, because it was unique. There was, you just knew when he had to say something that you couldn't do anything other but listen. It was a velvety voice that drew us in and would help sort of explain and draw in people into the great game of golf, because he loved the tradition of the sport. And I'm sure right now he would be, and I know he would have been, reveling in Scotty Scheffler's achievements so far here, who looks a shoo-in to win the Claret Jug. But he would, because of the tradition, how the mantle has gone on from Tiger, and Scotty Scheffler is now the shining light in terms of golfing achievement. But I know I will miss him, because he has been part of my golfing journey with talkSPORT. I'll miss him.
Oh,
Yeah, I think we all would as a listener, because when you hear him talk, and we used to say Natalie, the way he would say it, it's just like Natalie, and and that just was brilliant, absolutely.
Yeah.
And his voice was extraordinary.
Yeah, he'd just go hi, and you always make a point of knowing who the presenter was, so he could give them the hi Natalie or the whoever it is, and obviously he had a great relationship with Andy and Paul on H&J. They loved talking to him, and he loved being part of that program as well. And I know that what was so important, and I think talkSPORT was what he lived for.
Oh, Rupert, you've summed it up beautifully, and it's never easy to lose a friend, but we appreciate you joining us and just giving us your memories of Bob. Thank you, Rupert.
Cheers, Rupert.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
That is our Rupert Bell then.
A big loss, but I tell you what,
hugely
honour a man that commentated on golf for a long time, and he was a great listen. He really was.
Yeah, and lots of you right now sharing your thoughts of Bob, and we do appreciate it. Andy saying so sad to hear about him being the voice. Someone has also messaged with signing off Bob Bubka for talkSPORT. Yeah. All of these lovely notes that you've sent in, and we do appreciate it. There is a lovely piece as well on our website that is on there if you want to read about the tributes and the story of Bob Bubka. Sean O'Brien, who's part of our team covering this Open right now alongside Rupert, he's written the piece, and he says there was one time where he said to him, you could spend every day on the beach now. And his response, so Sean says, was something I will never forget, because he said, but Sean, this is my beach. Being at a golf course, covering the golf was everything he wanted to do. And you get it. I think
golf can be really cathartic, and it's beautiful. It is a game I love. I'm not good at it, but I love playing it and I like watching it.
Yeah, and when you're in the sport like he has been in for so long, it was a family probably for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And the friends he's created, he just rolled off the lips there of Rupert, Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus, the two greatest golfers ever.
Yeah, very, very much so. I hear you, yeah.
And there's probably Arnold Palmer in there and Tom Watson in there. You can throw them in as well.
Yeah. So sad news today then, as it's been announced that the voice of golf for many of us, as we all know, Bob Bubka, has sadly passed away, aged 83.
Radio is about voices, and there is no doubt when you heard Bob Bubka speak, it just grabbed you. Unmistakable and iconic, coupled with a wonderful, unique style, his distinctive American tones enthralled and entertained talkSPORT listeners for over 25 years. His love of the game of golf shone through, coupled with a cheeky, almost rebellious element, made him not only a delight to listen to, but in my case, to work with. His golfing journey began relatively late in his career, as he started out as a car salesman, but a few slots on American local radio led to expanding it to a full-time career. His first major moment, the Jack Nicklaus Masters in '86. His talkSPORT life began in the very late 90s, which of course coincided with the total dominance of Tiger Woods. Our paths first crossed covering a tournament in Germany in 2000, where Tiger was playing, and Bob came face to face with Jeff Boycott. What a pairing, particularly as Bob hadn't a clue who Jeff was. Bob was unashamedly biased when it came to Tiger Woods, in awe of his achievements, particularly as he had been brought up in the Nicklaus Palmer era. Testament to Bob is that Tiger always seemed to search him out to say hello. Bob and I would see each other at maybe 2 or 3 tournaments a year, and it was never dull. His ever-loyal partner Janice having to work overtime to keep him in check. And in those early days, when it would be true to say Bob loved a party, the work hard, play hard motto was writ large in Bob, creating a larger-than-life figure. But throughout, his love of the traditions and heritage of golf always revealed itself, none more so than around the Ryder Cup, which Bob wrote a book about. The biannual tournament was incredibly important to him, and he loved flying the American flag, even in the face of some disastrous American performances.
In later years, Bob's health made it difficult to travel, and his last Open in situ was at St Andrews in 2021. He loved being there, and the relish which he drove his motorised wheelchair around the city was fantastic. But what he also loved was the interaction with talkSPORT listeners. And I know in the end, being part of the talkSPORT family was so important to him as he struggled with ill health. But even when physically frail, that voice never faltered. Covering the majors will never be the same without that extraordinary voice drawing us in to the magnificent sport of golf. Bob, we'll miss you.
Sadly, we announced this morning that he has passed away, aged 83, and there will be plenty of tributes, no doubt, throughout today, and more as well, to a man that is well loved within this sport. We had Rupert Bell, our golf reporter, who is at Royal Portrush, joining us a while ago, or not that long ago, I should say, and reflecting on his friendship with Bob. A friendship that's lasted since the 1990s, something like that. He was saying, and he will be sadly missed, Bob. And we've had loads of messages coming in, Cass, because he
can imagine
he's just such an iconic voice. You might not have been able to put the face, but you would have heard the voice, and straight away you'd have known who that was. Graham, for example, has been in touch to say, as a massive darts fan, I can only say that Bob Bubka done for golf what Sid Waddell did for darts. R.I.P. Bob, the voice of golf.
Good, great comparison.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Pompey Paul has said he was such a terrific person. What a voice. He will be terribly missed. Golf will never be the same in my ears. Good night, Bob, and thanks for all the great memories. Craig in Windsor also says how sad it is to hear of the passing of Bob Bubka, the voice of golf on the radio, and a proper nice guy. We'll miss that soothing voice and fantastic golf knowledge, he says. And so many of you, as I say, getting in touch. Agent 320, I like this one. He says, sorry to learn the passing of Bob Bubka. Enjoy the 19th in heaven. Which is a nice way of looking at it. He will be missed without a doubt. And, if he had been well, he would have no doubt been part of our coverage of the Open right now. It more recently was involved at the Masters, as Rupert was reminding us this year. But unfortunately, ill health was the issue for Bob most recently. And sadly, he has passed away. But he would have cast an eye, no doubt, of what was happening at Royal Portrush, I'm sure, and would have loved to have been there if he could have been. The last one he said, so Rupert told us, that he covered was at St Andrews a few years ago when he was on that mobility scooter, running around on it as you do.
Yeah. Now, I've been to the Open and I've watched it live and loved it. It's a great spectacle. It's all quite calm. You have to get there early. You always get your place. Then you choose who you're going to follow around.
Yeah.
It's just a great experience. And like I say, listen to Bob, because he's someone you wouldn't recognise if he was walking down the street. But as soon as he opened his mouth, you knew who it was.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You might not know him by face.
How powerful that voice was. Without being, he's not trying to be powerful.
No,
it's just a natural thing for him. Yeah, that tone, real deep tone.
I mean, he was someone that has played a part in golf for a very, very long time. And as I said earlier on, Sean O'Brien has written a lovely piece on our website about it. And, when you're working into your 80s, there will be a lot of people that might say, why are you still doing this?
You love it.
Yeah, of course. And that was the point that he made to Sean when Sean asked him the question of, why are you not enjoying yourself? Why are you not spending every day on the beach like you could do? And his response was, this is my beach. So that was his enjoyment. That was the love. Getting up every day and being a part of golf. And we talked about it earlier, didn't we? That he was clearly much loved, would have found so many friends in the golfing community, hence why it just made it easy to turn up every time that he had to be there.
Yeah, there's people in life that don't necessarily have to do what they're doing.
It's not work. It probably wasn't work for him.
No. I've been very fortunate. I've played football and I've done media. My whole career is really media and playing football, and I loved it. Yeah, and I loved every minute of it. I don't see it as a job.
No,
I just see it as an experience that I enjoyed doing. And, for Bob, golf was his joy, the thing that gave him the most pleasure. And one of the biggest things in life you can have, if you really love going to work, and enjoying it, it doesn't come much better, does it?
No.
I mean, I always think about people who don't like their jobs.
Oh,
They're dreading going to work, don't like it. And I think, could I do that? I know if you're in a different position, obviously some people are caught on the financial world. If you've got to pay a mortgage, you've got to pay things, and you can't make that tough decision to quit. You know, it's a really tough one. But yeah, no, the Open today on the Sunday, this would be his dream day, the final. You know, we're on the home run. He'd be there. He'd have been, you know, watching, and especially, you know, got Scotty Scheffler, who I'm sure he would have, as tributes go, what he always would say about Tiger and Jack, he would be the same, I think, with Scotty Scheffler, what a player he is. Lacks with lyrical.
Weekend Sports Breakfast with Natalie Sawyer and Tony Cascarino. Sunday mornings from 6 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.